Okay, let's go hand in our homework. Figuratively and literally. There's one thing that I'm certain of, it's that this guy is completely on the level. Also, he gives us a lot of EXP. I should mention, by the way, that quest EXP is scaled to your level, and the number that you see is the number that is actually finally given to you. Just a thing to keep in mind. Anyway, alongside the nodes that you'd expect, on the circuit board there are a couple of the more interesting stats, some of which we extremely want. I'm going to spend a lot of the next couple of videos thinking that I'm saving up for the HP regen node. That's just past the one that we got that gives us +4, it costs 4 CP to get. And I'm going to keep coming up with better ideas. Also, I accidentally went too far north, so here's the very next cutscene. And I mean, of course Apollo wants a duel with witnesses. Anyway, the actual reason I left this in and didn't just re-record is just because I came in here at the end of a combat streak. It means that we technically still have combat resolution pending, which means that immediately after this ends, we just pull this show of dominance and level up right in front of him. But yeah, you don't have to fight him immediately, we can just back out. You do, of course, have to fight him eventually. He will shout at you if you try and walk ahead, and I guess Leah's just too honourable to ditch him.
I mean, she's better than I am. I would have absolutely ignored this dumb motherfucker who was like, "No, we're going to fight!"
Yeah, I don't know. Also, I guess it's notable, like I said, every area has its own pool of loot, and every area's traders trade in loot from that area, which both feels kind of organic, and pretty much means that you never have a whole lot of stuff to keep on top of. It's pretty easy to keep track of your loot situation. Anyway, it's time to get a guard art. I think we're missing some utility there. Also, if you need to activate a whole bunch of nodes at once, if you have the CP, you can absolutely do that, and now you can say that you have seen a game mechanics subtweet Final Fantasy X. Ugh, memories.
You know, I think that allowing the player to just automatically get all of those nodes unlocked for them, I don't think they're appreciating the amount of work that went into that sphere grid.
Look, if you don't have to painstakingly move one step forward and select a different thing out of every menu continuously for hours, taking periodic breaks to go and grind Don Tombury, I don't think you're really, even really a real player of video games. Anyway, I intended to move forward, but then I just immediately got another circuit point and I thought, no, time to keep getting stuff. I decided to make one of the best decisions I've ever made and spec into pin body. Which, well, let's just say it's going to be later when I make a point of explaining what that's doing. By the way, we missed one chest, which isn't in and of itself very important, but it contains a weapon that a lot of players like. It's a daikon. Any questions? No? Good. Anyway, the reason players like it is because it gives you a little bit of health regen, which is passive, goes over time. Health regen is pretty much how you become survivable for long streaks in combat. It's kind of hard to beat that kind of utility.
I mean, it is very good, like, from a passive standpoint. It's arguably too good. I think at one point the game literally, like, fucking calls you out if you still have it equipped. Like, long after the point when it's actually, quote-unquote, useful.
I mean, we will get to that, but yes, there is a point at this game where the tendency of players to overuse weapons with health regen is directly addressed. Anyway, obviously, all the people in town who gave us quests will immediately give us another quest when we turn in the first quest. I think, just by virtue of how this game worked, I think they were expecting to have quest chains everywhere, and they started off going all in on that idea, and I think they just eventually figured out that maybe let's not. I don't think there's a lot of other people past the first town who do this kind of thing so much. That's all future town talk. We can afford some good stuff now. I could get this for more health regen, but actually, what I think I'm going to do instead is I'm going to tab one more item over, and I'm going to get even more pin body. I've got a good feeling about this pin body thing.
So, does this add to your passive, or is it like multiplicative, or how does this work with multiple pieces of equipment?
Right. So anything that has a modifier on it, they're all additive, with one exception, but for the most part, the stuff like Brawler and Pin Body that we can see, there's passive stuff on the circuit board, and there's stuff from your equipment, and that gets added together. Anything that changes that stuff at all is all additive. I think the little readouts on the stat screen that tell you what they all do will usually explain what the percentage does if it isn't incredibly obvious. Like the health regen one says that having a higher percentage makes you proc the heal more often, and you will recover that many percentage over 60 seconds. Which is nice, games should explain things. The one exception is elemental resistance. Although we don't yet have the thing that is an exception to that. But suffice it to say that you can get elemental resistance from passives and elemental resistances on your equipment. Your passives add up, the equipment adds up, but the passive and the equipment are actually multiplicative with each other. So that can be fun. Otherwise it would be possible to reach like 100% total immunity to certain elements, and I guess we just didn't want that.
That sounds like the developers were cowards.
Anyway, not being content with like being a middleman to hire us, this guy is now hiring us to go and bail out the last middleman he hired to go and like bring some stuff to some people. And yeah, in case you were wondering, the quest NPCs are all basically scripted. I don't know what, like, diegetically speaking, the conceit is supposed to be, but I think it's like they will just react to whatever you say as though you actually spoke to them, which is why Lear's speech synchronization is only a problem when dealing with other players. Writing, right? I think this is something like I think this marks officially the 4th level of irony regarding the silent protagonist situation. I haven't taken the time to go through and enumerate all the layers of irony with the silent protagonist, but I think this is the 4th. There is one more after this, by the way, but that'll be later. So yeah, fresh from pouring a bunch of cider, I'm pretty sure it was cider, on a bunch of trees, we're gonna have to do the same thing again, except more violently. We'll do that later.
But can we punch the sacred tree?
We can't. Other characters, well, not characters, but the enemies will try, and we're gonna stop them.
I'm just saying, you can't give us the option, like a quest to punch every single plant, and then be like, oh, well, not these ones.
Yeah. I mean, funny you bring that up at exactly the point at which I would A, show this conversation, and B, was about to go into a small tangent about what actually in the playground is actually, like, actual terrain and what's just instant matter. Like, it's pretty definitively stated that the plants that we break are instant matter, but also there are, like, actual trees growing everywhere. And we're saying that a bunch of the playground is, like, construction. It has to be built, but also huge bits of it are instant matter, and I'm never really sure exactly what stuff is instant matter and what stuff is, like, stuff. It might actually be a plot hole, I don't know. I'm sure somebody's gone to exhaustive detail through all this stuff. Anyway, here's a guy. Right, so yeah, this quest is red and has an exclamation point on the icon. And also it actually matches our level, so that's something. You can probably imagine what the implications of this are. Also, I think we might have already encountered this particular area. So yeah, elite quests. I don't see why this requires a tutorial, but this game has a lot of very short, very snappy tutorials in it, so... Just gonna say that that's on brand.
Yeah, I feel like that was kind of unnecessary, because if you were to go where that quest wanted you to go to, you would probably get owned pretty quick, and you would find out why it's got an exclamation mark on it.
I mean, what do you mean, would? We literally did go there, and we literally did get owned. It was hilarious. So yeah, Sergey pipes in to point out that that guy is apparently wearing equipment from every class. You can tell this by all the different coloured shapes. Most of the players that you talk to, you will see that they're wearing stuff that has like a particular shape on it. So like the Tri-Bladers will have a triangle, or the Hexacast will have a hexagon. You know. That stuff is normally how you can get a pretty good idea, if it's not already obvious, who's a player and who's an NPC. That said, I don't know what actually, like, canonically are the customization options available to avatars. Like, we made a big deal of talking about how Apollo has, like, just has a style that he rolls with. And apparently he chose that. He might not have, so I don't know.
So what do you think the monetization of Crossworlds is? How many levels of loot box are they on?
I guarantee you it's awful. Like, they found entirely new avenues of monetization. Like, they don't just let you color stuff and put textures on it. Avatars, like, are known to have multiple different sensors available. So, like, They probably have like, microtransactions for like perfumes and particular armor textures. I don't think it's reached a point yet, but like sometimes people talk about how Avatar's sensors are customizable and like some areas are hot, but how vulnerable to heat you are is actually a setting on your avatar. So I think if you give this another couple years, there will be a microtransaction to be able to stay cool in the desert.
Well,
it will be fucking awful.
Yeah, I vaguely remember there being a conversation at some point where they like, this is like an optional feature where like you can choose to enable being able to like feel environmental stuff on your avatar. Yeah. So
this game has a lot of scope for going into little technical details about like the actual experience of what it's canonically like to play this game. And it's honestly fascinating to pick apart like what's the real experience and what's diegetic. Like I'm pretty sure that the sprite, the top-down thing, is diegetic. I think I said earlier, I think this game is experienced more or less photorealistically by avatars, and this is just for us, but that's just a theory. Anyway, we go through some bullshit and we chase this guy down. He's out here. This really is it. This is the last time. But just in case, Kima comes out here and takes him in anyway, which, you know, sensible. Time well spent. And for our troubles, we get sassed by the police.
I guess you did alright. We'll think about letting you help us next time.
You did a good job for a rookie. I mean, who could have imagined that somebody who'd come to help us in this town... what's this town's name again?
It was going to be a smartass and give you the actual town name, but I've already forgotten what the old man told us it was.
Oh, well, I mean, the joke was that this was Rookie Harbor, and I was going to make a joke about, like, oh, time to take a big swig of coffee and check the name of the town, but your reaction also works. I'll allow it. Anyway, we are actually at an appropriate level to go and deal with this area now, so let's see what it looks like when we're something resembling balanced. Note our health regen ticking along there. So yeah, one use of our melee tech will more or less fully take out the red hedgehogs now. And the ordinary ones just go down in a couple swings. We can put up our shield and we can just wade right into the middle of this clusterfuck and, like, we're fine.
I mean...
In fact, melee hits give you SP for the more targets you hit, so, you know...
I mean, to be fair, wading into them with your shield up is helped by the fact that we have, like, what, like 80% pin body or something like that?
Oh yes. Believe me, it is not yet the time for me to wax about pin body. That blue hedgehog again, of all places.
Would you say that you hate this hedgehog?
I mean, not anymore I don't. Now that we're actually at an appropriate level, I have a pretty manageable relationship with the hedgehog. But yeah, I guess the irony is that he honestly fights a lot more like Silver Sonic from the end of Sonic 2, in that he has a spin dash where he charges straight at you, and he has a bounce where he arcs towards you and hits you from above. And you can't block the jump. You have to dodge it. In fact, I think you have to do a multi-dodge.
That sounds right. I seem to recall getting owned a couple times on account of trying to be cute and only dodging once.
Yeah. Also, in his second phase, he gets a new attack where he does a powerful dash, which will go right the fuck through your shield, by the way, and then he'll do a jump. And I never did quite get the hang of that jump.
So what you're saying is that he has an attack that hones in on you.
Yes. I would say that. You can see, once again, I almost completely eat shit here before managing to win. Okay, so very important question. Did you get the reference? You please confirm that you got the reference. We're making extremely sure that you got the reference. This is a reference to notable video game Sonic the Hedgehog, published in 1991 by Sega for the Genesis.